So I end up killing my ex.
Speak, set, market. LMSUK NORA interview take 2.
LMSUK here, we are with the incredible Nora. Nora, I want to start the interview off today by telling you a little story.
Okay.
So we played your song on the music podcast, and obviously they get reviewed by Tom Squared.
Yeah.
And one of the Toms was like, this is the best song we've ever had. He's obsessed. He wants to come see you live. He's playing it constantly. And it's the first track that is on this amazing EP next to me, Boring Personality Disorder. Talk me through that track.
Oh, Boys Getting Bored. Oh my goodness. So Boys Getting Bored is obviously the first one, like you said, on Boring Personality Disorder. And the whole thing with Boring Personality Disorder was kind of my journey into my pop sound, because I hadn't done pop previously. And Boys Getting Bored was kind of me just being a little bit sick of the hookup culture, boys dating, and I experienced myself quite a lot, like, you know, guys that seemed single were not, and you found out later on. And then I had like several friends, or even like strangers that I met in a random bathroom in a club, like, you know, telling me these stories. And I was like, okay. And I literally actually, funnily enough, typical me, got off the plane, went to the studio, met up with Jules and Will in the studio at Talliard, and we wrote Boys Getting Bored at like, I don't know, started the session at 9 o'clock or something. Yeah, that was Boys Getting Bored. It was kind of just me having to vent about dating and hookup culture.
It's a fun pop song though, isn't it? It's just so great to listen to, and Tom was like obsessed with it. So he's like, I want to see Nora live, I've got to come to a show.
Oh
so he's really excited. You're here today, you've come from Norway,
yes.
Over today here at the University of Portsmouth. You've done 2 songs that aren't out yet, so I don't know how much I can talk about it, but you can talk about it.
Well, the first one I did today, Criminal, is actually coming out at the start of June.
Amazing.
So Criminal is definitely, so with Boring Personality Disorder, that was kind of my way, like I said, to get into the more pop sound and kind of finding the more sassy side of myself. I kind of used Boring Personality Disorder as a way of getting over a breakup. Not kind of, I did. I fully did. And then basically with Criminal now, it's kind of like NORA 2.0 or 2. Or
2.0.
so
version 2.
no, version 3 or version like 2, one of the two. And basically, Criminal is definitely a more edgy side of NORA. It's reflecting on one of the relationships that has affected me the most, which is also the one I used Boring Personality Disorder to get over. But it's way more savage, way more edgy, and very kind of straightforward, blunt. I definitely call my ex out in this track.
If you're watching.
If you're watching, you know who you are. So definitely calling out like some specific things that happened. But also I based it on Mama, I'm in Love with a Criminal by Britney Spears, Queen Britney. And yeah, I just wanted like a darker, it has like it's very storytelling. It's very much reflecting though those like toxic, codependent relationships that you kind of give your all to, and then that person, you know, seems to, you know, love you this much and they will always be there for you, and then they kind of just drain you and then they walk away.
Go away, yeah.
So I end up killing my ex. Not in real life. Not in real life, I promise.
The brand that you've got with Criminal is just incredible, isn't it? That whole kind of like blood spill, bad boy, bad girl, like this is the energy coming in.
It's definitely Bonnie and Clyde.
Edgy.
It's Bonnie and Clyde, but Bonnie turns out like Clyde betrayed her, so he's got to go.
The sequel.
Yeah, literally.
Amazing. So I want to talk about some of your influences now, okay? We've got some amazing albums around us that you listen to and had an impact on you and your music.
Yes, definitely.
Talk to me about Billie Eilish. What impact has she had on Nora?
So I think it was because I was in the middle of discovering this new sound. I had literally stepped out of like the electronic, ambient, like Bjork sort of scene, which, because my background was opera, or is opera and classical and jazz. And I then moved into an electronic kind of like Lana Del Rey vibe, but never really into pop. And then whilst I was working on borderline personality disorder and all of this, Billie Eilish kind of came through. And I just felt like she was doing this thing that I felt like I already wanted to do, which it was introducing, you know, not necessarily a very like mainstream pop kind of sound into the mainstream.
Gotcha.
And making it commercial. And I feel like she was definitely like a floodgate. Like she opened
when she
it
came
up.
out, people didn't know what genre to put her in.
Exactly.
Where do you put her?
Exactly. And if she had come out like 5 years prior to that, she wouldn't have been put in the commercial, and she would have been underground. Like The Weeknd was underground. I remember listening to Wicked Games. You know what I mean? And that was like, oh, that wasn't commercial, that wasn't pop.
You have to get the SoundCloud links and like be really sneaky with it.
Yeah, literally. So I feel like Billie Eilish was definitely a part of shaping that sound that I was already making. And especially with her like jazzy sort of influences is definitely something that I was already doing. So I just got inspired by it, really.
And talk to me about the energy of Banks, talk to me the energy of Christina Aguilera. What is that impact had?
So Christina is obviously like OG, you know, someone I literally loved when I was growing up, you know. The funny thing with Christina is like, yes, I was inspired by her, but I didn't realize until maybe recently how inspired I was by the sort of early 2000s Christina. But I also see Xtina now, definitely like branding wise, we're quite similar. So I feel like I've kind of grown up with her and grown with her sort of thing. So she impacted me without me knowing. Banks, however, was definitely someone that I felt more like I knew that I was influenced by her. And that was actually before I went into the pop landscape. That was kind of, I started listening to Banks when I was at university at BIM. And I'd already kind of had a little taste on, what would it be like for me to be in the pop world? But I hadn't really stepped into it yet. But Banks that was like early stages before I decided to change my entire sound.
So that was the gateway.
Yeah, oh my God, she is like my spirit animal. I love her. I've seen her live. Like, I absolutely love Banks. Like, I would love doing a collab with her.
That'd be amazing,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? I want to talk about your live side now.
Yes.
For someone that's not heard you before and they're going to come and see you live, what can they expect?
A storyteller, number one. Someone who's not afraid of being themselves. I am from Norway. And in Norway, there has been a culture of not, like, people shouldn't fully show themselves and be kind of eccentric and loud and all of that. And I've definitely shed that off, like that, I'm done with that. So you will be seeing someone that, you know, 100% is unapologetically themselves, full of girl power, but also quite a lot of vulnerability. I would say there's an explosion, but there's also like a silence, and all of the sides of Nora really gets shown.
From what I've seen just here today is that authenticity and like how authentic you are with, you will go into different sounds, you will try different bits, but it is you and your experience. It's very personable, isn't it, to watch?
Yes, very.
I think with your music.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd say so.
That, I would say so. Yeah.
I want to talk to you a little bit about social media. Obviously, you're with LMSUK, you work with the wonderful Jay and Catherine and Adam and the team. How important is it for an independent artist to have that support on socials and that brand, and how will you come across?
Oh my God, so important. So important. Like, you know, there's good sides of it and there's bad sides of it. For me, I feel very lucky because I actually love it. Like, being visual is my thing. It's always been my thing. My background is also theatre and, you know, fashion, and I love expressing myself on camera. I've grown up in front of the camera and behind the camera because of my parents. And therefore, I felt like I was quite lucky because it is something I already love doing.
Natural as well.
But even for me, it gets overwhelming. It gets so overwhelming. And it's like, oh, all these algorithms I'm changing, all of this. So the support on social media, getting like true fans and having someone to back you and help you with marketing and help you with branding. I've worked really hard on doing my branding myself, but I always want to go to the next level and next level. And you need people, I always say, like, people lie when they say that an independent artist don't need anyone. That's a lie, because I've gotten burnt out because I try to do everything on my own.
It's almost another full-time job. You know, you're writing,
100%.
you're producing, performing, and then need to market and brand yourself. It's
Directing new music videos, producing them, like everything.
So having that team there that goes, this is the data, we've done training this week, this is what's working, go and do this.
Yeah.
Behind you, just for an artist, it just takes just a little bit of that weight away, doesn't it? You've still got everything else to do, but at least it's one thing off that you can go, okay.
Exactly, and then you don't feel so alone, because being an independent artist, you can feel really alone, like in everything you do. And just having LMSUK, I've really appreciated it because I've felt like I actually have someone to talk to. I have like a soundboard that, you know, that talks back.
And we've got all musicians in the same community, haven't we? So everyone is there to help each other and support, and that's what I love. And that's why I love what we do.
And that's like the pre-save campaign. You just
get
spam
on this
everyone.
now. Nora, thank you so much for coming in today here to Portsmouth. Thank you for the performances. I cannot wait for everyone at home to see them.
I can't wait either.
Thank you.
Pre-save criminal.